Alright, we're back. I'm going to go to shifter. Play with this later. Kicker's external, shifter's internal. I'm going to then deal with the shifter. Okay, so now we're going to have to, hard on my wrist. So here's our forks. They are reused, but they look okay. They appear to be pretty tight, so that should be a good deal. Okay, put this one in easily. Just shove it in a high gear. Then you have room to drop it right into the case here pretty easily. See, the speedometer gear gets in the way. When you're over here in the middle, it's hard to get past the gear. The gear's in the way, so you can't get in there, you can't go sideways. So if you drop it in the high gear, it drops right in, see? No problem. So it helps to be in high gear. This one doesn't matter because you've got nothing in the way. But you do have to figure out where the shift works out though. Appears to be right here. Just go in like that. So you just slide back and forth like that. So we got to determine right now is if we're centered or not in here. So we have shims in here, we can move this around a little bit, figure it out. So that's what we're going to be doing here. Okay, here's our shaft. See the hole right there. Just go in there until it engages, that's fine, right there. Make sure everything works freely. Appears to be working. Good sign. We'll put our two bushings on there. These little hat pieces right here. Put them on here, make sure they're tight, not worn out. And you go over here to your drum and make sure they fit fairly decent in there also, and not worn out. That one feels good. That one feels good. Okay, so it all looks pretty good. Okay, I need a tool right here. Okay, this is how you transfer your location from one to the cover to the tranny. So, I never can remember which way this goes on, so I install it over here first. If it doesn't install correctly on the top of the tranny over there, see how it doesn't want to go in here? And flip it over. Appears to fit that way pretty nicely, see? So this must be the left side, this must be the right side. Now you could mark the damn thing, but no, why would we want to do that? That eliminates the fun of figuring it out every time. So I just take it off of there, rotate it, stick it onto here. The dowel pins are what engages in the cover here. Okay, now you gotta get your shifting troughs, whatever you want to call them, in the right spot. Guides, grooves, whatever name you want to call them. So this one here appears to be lined up, so you stick your pin here, alignment pin, drop it in there, and see how it does not engage in there like it's supposed to. So what you do, you just loosen up that, let it drop in like it's supposed to. And tighten it down. Now it drops in there fairly close, not quite. Do it again. Appears to be a little bit of drag on it. There's some binding in there. No matter what you do, it binds a little bit. It's binding. Normally doesn't do that, but every time it's doing the same thing right now. Oh well, it wants to bind. Okay, I gotta turn the other one until I get to that one now. So then I put the other one in. Appears to be off also. See, that one works like it's supposed to, see? Why is this one not working? I do not know. This is how it's supposed to work. So now we're going to go back over here and see what the problem is. It's a little bit less binding than it was, but still binding for some reason. I don't know why. Fits in there halfway, but won't go all the way through. Just now without a little bit of drag on it. Oh well. Something ain't happy in there, but it's close enough. It works. There's a misalignment or something. Okay, now you take it off of here. Put it over here in your tranny. Now the transmission is ready to be set. So now you go over here and see what your alignment is. You take a screwdriver. Usually I like to line the gears up a little bit. Makes it easier to figure this out. If you get all three of these together, it's a lot easier. I rotate it until I get to that spot. Okay, right there is a sweet spot. Yep, somebody's here. Be back. Okay, back to the training. Okay, we got our alignment tool on here right now. So now you see already it's pretty close to this one here. I get a pretty wide gap here, but we don't know where our clearances are at. So you just take your screwdriver and just push a little pressure on it. And see it's still closer to this one than this one, and you shove it all the way over. When you take all this clearance up, see it gets really close. So you have to move it over half the distance, whatever you need to go is how much shimming you need to change there. So this one needs to go over quite a bit. That's a couple of shims at least. You do it more than once at a time. Now this one over here is really hard to do because you can't see in here. But you got to do the same thing. You just slide the dog all the way over and look in there. My problem is right now I can't even see the dog. I can't see the gear. So we need to get in here and find it. Because you need to get these things lined up with each other. So this camera doesn't have a bright enough light for me to see. So I'm going to have to do it the old-fashioned way with a real light. Now the other one way of doing it is you can put feeler gauge in there and go that route, which might be what we're going to have to do here. Okay, now I can see where we're at. Where's the dog at for high gear? Okay, right here I can kind of do them all. one looks pretty close. You put light on there, you can actually see in there a little bit. So you look down between the dog there, you got about 30 thou clearance there. Like that. You see the gap on right between the dogs going straight down. On the other side, you got the other dog over here. You go over there. And it might be just a tick closer on that one. It's hard to tell. So if you put feeler gauge in there, you can tell, but it's pretty close. So you just have to go like that. Go the other direction over there. It's pretty close. I'd say probably 5 thou more over to the left on this one. So you move this one over 5 thou this way, and this one here you move it over about 20 thou at least to start with, maybe even 25. So once we know what you got to do, we're going to go ahead and do it. So take the tool off, put it right in front of you, don't rotate it, and it'll be back in the same spot. Take the two bushings off so you don't lose them. Now we got to crack these things loose. So you got to chisel on them a little bit. They did these on the wrong side, so you can't get to them. Yeah. Alright, so we can't break them free inside the vehicle here. So the lock tab should be up here on the top where you can get to them, not on the bottom. So they got it on upside down, basically. So I can't get access to pop this one off, so got to take it off. Put in a vise, knock it free, do it. I'm going to grab this one also. I'm going to do them both over here. The camera's in the way a little bit too. So I'm going to go over here to the vise. Use 3/4 wrench. Pop them free. Okay, that one's done. Okay, so now the shift forks are now loose, so we can do our adjustments. Okay, this one we need to move over about 5 thousandths, maybe. These use a bunch of shims in here, you can just transfer shims around a little bit. When you pull these things apart, just put everything on the table in the order they come off. So there's one shim left on this one. Okay, so there's our one shim. So I'm not sure how thick that is. Feels like it's more than 5 thou though. It's a 15 thou, so these must be 7s and 15s. Okay, so we need to find one that's 5. Okay, here's 21, so one of these is thin. That one's 14. This one's 6/7 thousandths right here. Okay, so I'm going to take the thin one out. It goes back on the outside edge, and the two thick ones go back here. Shift fork goes right back on the same way. Where did it come off of? We'll get the one thin shim. Get our lock. Lock should be this direction. See, when it's installed, you got access to both sides. The problem is you can't bend that back, it'll break, so we're going to have to put it back on wrong. It'll probably break anyway. And the nut's hollowed out underneath so it can go over the shoulder. Okay, make sure all that goes in there correctly. Looks good. Okay, that's one down. Okay, now this is only going to make a big change on it. So this one here, we need to put a whole bunch of shims, take them off this side and put them on the other side, so we move the fork this way. It's the opposite what the other one was. Okay, so lay our nut down. Our lock. There's only one shim on this side. Bunch of shims over here. $36 thou is too much of a movement. $21 isn't very much. So there's 30. So we can't do it exactly we want. So we're going to go 15 or we're going to go 30. We're way off. We're going to do 30. Okay, so 30 goes over on this side. This one stays over here. Okay, so put our shim back on here. Put our fork back together. It came off like this. Put the whole stack of shims over on this side now. Get our lock tab. Things get bent, they don't want to go together. Here to kind of pop on. Then our nut with a shoulder to the inside. So make sure everything pulls in tightly, not jamming in sideways. Okay, that's in there correctly now. Okay, now we put this one in. Okay, then you take your 3/4 and tighten the nuts down a little bit. Not full tight, but tighten them down. 2 washers. Things moved on us here. That one's good. We can tell on that one. Okay, put this back down. Okay, looks like we did a big change there. Probably too much. So now we're exactly the opposite. We're too close to this one and not enough on the other. So see, now it's centered there, but not there, see? So we're exactly the opposite, so we went too much. That was a 30 thou adjustment, so we need to do a 15 or 20. Okay, Okay, this one over here. Go look at the dog in there. See the gap. So there's your gap there. I can't see it. So, and then you got your gap over here on this side. So they need to be equal. So I can't see it, so I need to see with my flashlight. So, do it my way. Where's the deer at? Way over there. Right. A little bit close to high gear, which is probably not too bad. So, but it's definitely toward high gear. And this one's definitely wrong over here, so what I need to do is get an idea where we're at here. Now, if you use a feeler gauge, you can tell exactly what things are. It's really hard to see in there, so you pull out a few feeler gauges, stick them in the hole, and see what you got. Definitely less than what either of these are. 15, 16, and 17, so it's 30, 40. Oh shit, there's 4 of them in there. No wonder it's so much. Drop down to 3. Still a little on the tight side. So take away 1, add 1 from the other side. Put pressure on it. So that's about what it is. So 15, 16, and 17. So it's at about 53, 51, 49, 50. It's 50. Okay, so we got 50 thou on this side. Now you got the other side. Where's the dog's at? Definitely not touching. Do a 2 change. Definitely not the same. So we're definitely going to be putting the other shim back in there. $58, so it's 8 thou difference. The problem is the shim is 7. See, it was too much one way or the other. dragging that way. Yep, 58. So if I change it the other way, I'll be too close to the other one by about the same amount. Oop, too much. $50. We're not quite hitting 50. 53. Probably more like 54. Alright, so we got 54, 58. We're only 4th thou difference. The shims are 7th thou thick. You can't correct that. Okay, so we're going to leave the high gear one alone. We're good. This one over here, going way too much. Going exactly about double, so we'll cut that. We'll take one shim and move it back. Loosen this up. Okay, so I'm going to take one shim, which is 15 thousandths. Probably make it pretty close. Swap sides. Put it all back together again. Someone's getting all that out there in the car. Someone's having some fun. So right off the bat, it looks pretty even. Let's go ahead and line these up a little bit. There we go. Okay, so that one is about that far. It's a little bit off still. That's the whole fork bending there. The actual gap is right there. So it's a little bit more toward that side. Wow, look at that. The little gear moves quite a bit. That's why I was getting some false readings. See, I can move in quite a bit, make it the same, see. Second gear doesn't move like that. So full close is that way, you go like that, shove that over, see it's the same. think that's good enough. I'd like them to be a little closer to the second gear, because how off you're in second gear a lot more than you're in low gear. So if you're going to cheat toward that gear. And this gear will suck in anyway if it wants to. So if it sucks in, it's the same. If it pulls over, it's a little bit wider. So the gear, it's dictated by where the gear sits. And if this whole thing shoves that way, you get a little bit clearance too. Okay, I'm happy with that. You always err toward the higher gear, whichever one that is. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and torque these down. Put a good amount of torque on them. It's pretty good. Knock them down with a flat punch. There you go. Roll in there now. Okay, now we got to put the shaft in here and put the forks in here for real. Okay, so right now we have this is an early style shaft, so it has a notch right here, right over here. And that's the set screw right here, goes down and locks that shaft so it can't come out. So there's a long set screw with a titty on it right there. And that's what goes into the groove right like that. So you have to make sure you have that straight up and down when you shove it all the way in. So right now we're straight up and down, that's where it needs to go in. So if you go over here and mark your shaft, just like we did on the counter shaft, we know where we're at. So this is exactly the same thing we did on the other shaft, is what we're doing here. Hard to see the mark though, but it's marked. This red pin's getting to be pretty dead. Okay, so it's marked right there, so we know where it goes in at. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and put a little sealer on this O-ring here, and then beat it in. Most of the time when you put a new one on here, it shears it right off anyway, so I just pretty much reuse the old ones. As long as they're still pliable a little bit, you use them. The sealer will seal it up anyway. Okay, so get our 3-bond out. Sounds real good out there. Bums must be sick. Okay, there's our initial application of goo. Now I'll go ahead and tap this thing in there. Down here for the groove. So right now the groove is right over here. See, that's about halfway where we need to be. And see, we're still sticking out pretty good on the shaft. So I'll just take my regular hammer, go boom, boom, boom like that. We'll just tap it in until we can see what we need. See, it looks pretty close now. And we're flush over here now too. Okay, so now my set screw should be able to drop right in. Screw it down until it's below the surface there. And you just get a little gorilla strength. Lock that sucker in there. Okay, make sure all this stuff is free. It appears to be shifting. So now I'm going to line up the dogs here so I can shift it. So that one's definitely free. There we go. Alright, spot and check everything. The third gear looks good. Fourth gear, I kind of line it up a little bit. And fourth gear works freely. Okay, everything's good so far. Okay, so we got to goop this up over here and let it set up overnight. And I got to go in here and get the speedometer drive set up on here and let it set up too. We got a brand new unit floating around here somewhere. There's one here with a screw, chrome plated. And here's a zinc plated one over here with a screw. So we're doing more of a low color motor, neutral colors. So we're going to use the zinc and not the chrome. Chrome would look too shiny. So we're going to go with this one here. So I'm going to go ahead and goop up this surface right here so it won't leak there. You can also just stuff the speedometer drive in there, but it looks better without the drive. If you're not going to use it, it's better to do it this way. Clean the goo off my tools so they're not on there. Turn that off. Okay, to give a new screw to use, straight head Phillips combo. Give you a new solid gasket to use. It goes on there like that. So it's going to use gasket cinch on there. Should be all you need. Shouldn't have to put the thick stuff on there. Okay. Put the better looking side up. Oh, that screw is a piece of crap. It's tight though. I had to make the screwdriver go all the way in. It's got burrs and everything. Okay. Okay, that's in there pretty good. Should be a nice tight seal, hopefully. That won't leak there. This here we need to flip back over. I'm going to put a little bit of goo on this, like we did before, and let it sit overnight. You got this here, goes on top of here. Keep it from falling around. I can't put the sprocket on just yet because I got to get this. I won't have access to put the goo on. Alright, okay, I'm going to take our goo, a little small screwdriver because all I got right now to use. I'm going to grab this thing and go for a walk. We didn't plug up the hole down here yet either, that'll be the last thing to plug up. We'll goop it up too so it won't leak at the bottom to the drain plug. So we're going to go over here. just like we did before. Okay. Put the 2 blocks here again. It sits nice and flat this way. There, get a little light going. Okay, so now I'm going to have to go ahead and fill in this little void right in here. So you can see how this ceiling right here is right there. We're going to make it look like that, where it sits in there and seals it up 100%. Now as long as you coat the whole shaft, tip of the shaft with the sealer, it'll seal. It just has to have a thin coat across, that's all it needs. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit right there on the top. That's too much. You can't see much, but I can. I'm doing the work, so it's more important for me to see. Okay. Wipe off the excess right there. So what we did is we put a nice even layer all the way across the whole surface. We went out past the edge of the hole all the way around just a little bit, just like it would be here, so you get that little shoulder on the outside edge. And then when it all settles in, everything's encapsulated, see? It doesn't have to be flat, it just has to be encapsulated. This is completely encapsulated. And like I said, you can come over here a little bit on the bottom right here. Make sure it's all the way across there. Encapsulate that whole area. And it'll self-level out easily on its own. See how it just flows in. That should be good to go. So we'll come back tomorrow and it should probably look like that, was dimpled in a little bit. But it won't leak there. So that's what you want that to do. Now for the drain plug, we need to put some sealer on it also. And do the same thing on the bottom of the case over there, up under here. So it doesn't hurt to start doing stuff like that right now, let it set up. So I'm going to go ahead and goop up the drain plug and do the same little trick. Put it in there, let it sit. I'll wipe off all the excess and it should be nice and clean, but it won't leak there. Now if you got to change your oil out, it might re-leak because I'm going to encapsulate and seal it up pretty good. So all of these are encapsulated from the inside so these studs won't leak. So you try to stop as many leaks as you can. Alright, that's it for tonight on this. Be back tomorrow.